My name is Raj Sabhlok. I'm the president of Zoho Corp, but I'm also an evangelist for our Zoho Finance applications. And today, following along the theme with integrations, I'm going to talk about integrating Zoho Creator and any other application or website for that matter into our new Zoho Subscriptions app. And, you know, one of the things that struck me throughout the 2 days is that people are building some powerful applications with Zoho Creator. And there is more and more the requirement to integrate, I think Tejas had a great slide on this, at every business function within the organization. And the back office is no different. And that's where these finance applications and creator integrations are going to become particularly interesting. So most of us are familiar with subscriptions. Either we're in our business selling on subscriptions or memberships, or we are a consumer of products and services that we subscribe to. Myself, I can think of over a dozen different subscriptions I have. I've got my annual health club membership. I've got the Wall Street Journal that is delivered to my house every day and billed on a monthly basis. And keeping in the theme of wine, my favorite subscription is my wine club membership that they ship me 6 bottles of wine every quarter and they bill me automatically until I stop that subscription. We're all becoming very accustomed to subscription models. In fact, as most of you know, Zoho is a subscription model business. Here you can see the creator plan page, and you've got various editions. You've got the standard edition, professional, and enterprise, and they're all distinguished by features and functionalities that we add or take away from the various editions. There's also things such as add-ons, the ability to get a pricing discount if you purchase for a longer period of time. These are all things that are associated with subscriptions. And I'm going to come back to this example as we go through the presentation. Before I go any further, let me have a show of hands of how many of you in your businesses are offering your products and services on a subscription basis, or building applications or doing consulting for companies that offer subscription products and services. Just one. Just one? Oh, we've got a couple over here. Okay, so there's and one in the back. They're popping up, and they are popping up. I mean, there's a lot of momentum behind subscriptions, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background on why that is. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on Zoho subscriptions and the problems that we solve. But as you can see, this is kind of at first glance, it was kind of a startling statistic to me. But the reality is, new businesses that are coming online today typically offer some form of subscription. And existing businesses are quickly adding subscription options for selling their goods and services. So, you know, there's clearly got to be some benefits here. From a business standpoint, obviously Zoho is an example of a company that has adopted such a model. But one of the reasons I think there's so much momentum behind subscription businesses is that it's a win-win. Customers like them as well. Let's talk about why. First, kind of recapping on businesses, it's a predictable revenue model. You all have heard of, geez, I wish I knew what my revenue was going to be moving forward. So we offer, or subscription businesses offer, a predictable revenue stream from returning customers that you can sell additional products and services to. And that's critical too, because we all have probably heard that it is very difficult to go out and market and procure new customers. It's much easier to sell additional products and services to existing customers. And then lastly, if you're a company that has inventory or parts, knowing exactly what to order when can be critical to your business in determining what inventory you need to order and making sure that you're not putting too much cash outlay to order parts or inventory that's just going to go to waste. So those are some of the benefits for businesses. Customers, and again, I think we're all subscribers in some form or fashion to various memberships or programs where you pay on a month-to-month or annual basis. But the convenience of flexible plans where you don't have to have a huge cash outlay to get involved with whatever that product or service is huge for customers as well. But probably the most important thing, at least from my perspective, is that customers have the ability to hold vendors' feet to the fire as it relates to customer service. Because you're paying on a monthly basis. And if that vendor is not delivering the service at the levels you want, you just stop, right? And if your demand changes or your requirements change, I can quickly exit out of my subscription and not have a lot of money invested in whatever that program is. Going back to my examples, if I'm not working out as much as I should or could, I just stop my gym membership, right? And if I find that I'm getting most of my news online as opposed from the Wall Street Journal, I just stop that service as well. The one service I'm not stopping is my wine service. That's staying. So although this sounds like complete bliss, right? I just said businesses love subscription models, customers love subscription models. There are some challenges to subscription models. And that's really in the areas of accounting and understanding the financial health of these businesses. And let's take a look at the reason why. In traditional accounting, the way that you judge the health of the business is underpinned by three major financial statements: the statement of cash flows, profit and loss or income statement, and balance sheet, right? Everybody's heard these. One of the interesting nuances about traditional accounting is that it's backward looking. In other words, when I sit down to do my financials at the end of the year, it's all about what happened in the 12 months prior, right? And that stands in stark contrast to subscription businesses. Subscription businesses are all about what is going to happen in the future. And traditional accounting gives you very little insight into that. Things like understanding your monthly recurring revenue become extremely important in subscription businesses. I do all my planning, all my expense planning around what my MRR, as it's called in subscription metric terminology, what that is going to be. So it's very critical. Second point to that is if customers are dropping off, then my forecast for my monthly recurring revenue is going to be off as well. So understanding another key metric called churn rate, how many customers are leaving me in a period, is absolutely critical as well. And then finally on this slide, lifetime value of a customer. This is a very important metric in subscription businesses. What is it? Let me give you an example. Let's say I spend $100 to attract a new customer, right? Only to have that customer sign up for my subscription service and pay me $10. If I put that into a traditional accounting model, that looks like a terrible business, right? I'm losing $90 on that transaction. But what my LTV tells me in subscription models is that my customer, on average, will stay with me for a specified or determined amount of time, determined by that LTV. It's basically an average of when people come and go on your service. So in that same example, let's say that customer that came on and paid me $10 in the first month, but their LTV is probably 24 months, now this is looking like a smoking deal, right? Income, $240, expense, $100. Now, technically, there's some additional expense in providing that service as I move forward, but you get the example. This is clearly going to be a profitable scenario. And so, there needs to be, within this subscription economy, as it's being described now, a bridging between traditional accounting and subscription accounting, if you will. And there is a solution to the problem, and I think I'll just cut to the chase. You're probably thinking, hey, it's Zoho Subscriptions. And in fact, we do go a long ways to address these critical issues related to subscription models and bridging the gap between traditional accounting. So let me talk about 4 key areas that Zoho Subscriptions addresses. And by the way, I am going to go through a demo. I will give you a glimpse of Zoho Subscriptions, but I'm not going to take it to the depth that would make you experts in the product. I do have some brochures that the product team sent with me, and I have those at the back of the room that you can pick up at the end of the discussion, at the session. But for now, let's start with these 4 key pillars of Zoho Subscriptions. First is subscription management. Think back to the creator plan slide that I put up. There was multiple additions that we offered. There was multiple features, different features in each of those additions. There was different add-ons that I could have. There was different pricing depending on the length of the subscription. All those need to be managed, right? Because the fact of the matter is those subscriptions change all the time. Pricing changes, additions change, you get more add-ons. And if you hard code that in to your application or website, that's a huge task to make sure you're up to date all the time. And what Zoho Subscriptions does, and I'll show this to you, is the ability to manage these subscriptions within Zoho Subscriptions and push those out essentially to the applications that want to use subscription management. The second aspect that's critical to subscription models or Zoho Subscriptions is this idea of once you acquire a customer, you need to manage the recurring billing and payments. It's very critical, and it could be a very time-consuming process if you do it manually. Think of having thousands of customers only to have to bill these folks on a monthly basis. Not only that, let's hope we sold them multiple services and they have multiple bills with the company. What they typically want is one bill. They don't want 3 or 7, depending on the amount of services they have. So we do within Zoho Subscriptions is we consolidate those billings and we prorate it so that you get one bill as a customer. The other point is subscription-based reports, and a lot of this has to do with the key metrics that I mentioned at the beginning of the discussion, things like MRR and LTV, and there's many, many more that are the underpinnings of your subscription business, and that's what we do there. And finally, just because we're a subscription business, it doesn't mean that we don't have to file our financial statements and do our taxes. We still have to do that. But Zoho Subscriptions seamlessly takes its subscription data and integrates it into traditional accounting, namely Zoho Books. So this is a screenshot of Zoho Subscriptions. I'm going to get into the product in a moment. But let me just tell you a little bit about the user interface, if you will, or how people interact with Zoho Subscriptions. And this is where it ties back to Zoho Creator and other applications. So Zoho Subscriptions, as you can see, has a user interface. And I can create customers, I can create products, and I can run reports. I mean, it's a self-contained application. But the true value of Zoho Subscriptions is to take subscription the functionality of Zoho Subscriptions and put it into other applications. And typically, companies already have websites that they're transacting on or e-commerce applications that they're billing on. What Zoho Subscriptions allows you to do is suck in that data, if you will, and manage your subscription business ongoing with all this key information that Zoho Subscriptions starts to track for you. So the integration aspect is actually more interesting than just the UI itself, although I am a little bit biased, but I think the UI of Zoho Subscriptions and the rest of our finance applications are pretty nice. So with that, let me just talk briefly about what we're going to see in the demo and the three main types of integrations. The first is called Webhooks. Now, what in the heck is Webhooks? We just talked about APIs for 45 minutes, and thankfully, Tejas did a great job on bringing everybody up to speed on what an API is, and now I'm talking about webhooks and the fact that it is essentially a reverse API. And it's real simple, actually. The idea of a reverse API is that the host application, in this case, Zoho Subscriptions, is going to push its data to another interested application, right? So that's pretty simple. And in fact, we are going to go over a demo doing just this, using webhooks to integrate Zoho Subscriptions into Creator, which Creator is going to then go off and take some actions. And I'll talk more about that when we get there. The second element in terms of integration that Zoho Subscriptions offers is the ability to automatically create what we call hosted pages or payment pages. Again, think about going online to a website and once you decide on a subscription or a product that you want to purchase, you're greeted with a customer information page where you put in your customer information as well as your billing information, your credit card information. One of the slick things about Zoho Subscriptions is that we create those pages for you automatically. We create a URL that you can embed into your application. So now start thinking about Creator applications that this can be embedded into, or any other application. And we talked a lot about mobile today and our focus on that. These web pages, or hosted pages rather, are mobile friendly as well. The last option in terms of integration for Zoho Subscriptions is a full-blown API, a REST API. And again, I've got to thank Tejas for taking you through the concepts of APIs. And in Zoho Subscriptions, suffice to say, and I'll give you some ideas of the areas in particular, but we've opened up Zoho Subscriptions such that any application can pull its data or push data to Zoho Subscriptions through this robust API that could be accessed through multiple types of language, even high-level languages like curl. So let's see some of the demos that I was referring to. So let me first start by taking you through the dashboard of Zoho Subscriptions. And it provides, as I said, a lot of the key health metrics of your subscription business. I know this is a little bit difficult to see this graph in particular, but don't fear. Really what we're showing here is daily activations of subscriptions and cancellations, a key metric that you want to keep track of. Moving down, it actually shows me some of the web metrics as well on my site. Shows me some of the signups that I'm getting over a particular period of time. Activations, number of active customers. Down here, the critical churn rate that I talked about earlier. And then moving to the right, you see the MRR, that's automatically calculated so that I have the vision of what's happening into the future. And I'll just point out a couple more, namely the LTV, which we talked about earlier in the discussion. So what we are also going to show in this demo is, first off, a Webhooks integration with Zoho Creator. And what I want this application to do on Zoho Creator is to pick up the fact that somebody has activated a subscription within Zoho Subscriptions. I want Creator to get that data through Webhooks. It's being pushed to Zoho Creator. And from there, I want Zoho Creator to send an SMS to the subscriber saying, hey, we've got your subscription and it's complete. Here's what you ordered. Okay? So that's the scenario. I'll quickly give you a look at the corresponding Creator form. I want to collect the customer ID, the customer name, mobile phone number, the plan name, an email address, because this app actually is going to email subscriber as well, and some status information. So let's see how this kind of plays out. So I talked through the dashboard, but how do I set up this Webhooks concept within Zoho Subscriptions? So one thing, I go into settings and I'll see that there's two of the APIs that I talked about, Webhooks, and I also see hosted pages, which we'll come back to. What I said is very true. You have this URL, or sorry, this HTTP post that communicates with Creator, sends an authentication code so that it can send data to it. And now, kind of switching context, I go back to this idea that Zoho Subscriptions can send all these different events. I can send events related to a subscription being created, canceled, renewed. In this case, as you can see, I've checked off that I want to send to Creator when a subscription has been activated. You can see some of the other things that I can propagate through Webhooks. So I'm comfortable with that. Now, in this example, as I said, this is using the UI of Zoho Subscriptions, where I could certainly set up a customer. And in this case, I am Xylem Business, if you will. I'm actually Patricia Boyle in this case, in terms of the employee that's the administrator of this account. And let's say that we're going to sell something to Raj Sabhlok, myself, right? As you can see, I'm a very good customer with all these subscriptions that I've signed up for. I just can't help myself. But I'm going to do one more subscription. And this is part of the, as I said, the Zoho subscription interface. I've got a product that's already set up, which is you can purchase Zoho's Xylem Site Management, just a fictitious product that we made up. And I'm going to buy the professional edition. These are all fields that are associated with the subscription that I'm creating. And again, you can create any number of subscriptions with various add-ons, coupons, trial periods, things of that nature. I'm going to keep it real simple now and continue. Since I am an existing customer, it has my credit card information, Zoho Subscriptions. Actually, it's stored with the on the other side with the merchant account, but it can get access to it when it does a transaction. And let's say I subscribe. So I lost a little bit of the dramatics there, but you can see all the subscriptions that I've been ordering, and the Zoho Creator app that picks up this information through Webhooks it forwards it on to Twilio in this case, and we talked about Twilio integration earlier for SMS. So this form collects that data that's being pushed to it. There's a few lines of code that, again, we've talked a lot about this today in terms of the XPath functions that go through and parse, in this case, an XML file to pull out the information that's going to go into the SMS. Here you can see the customer ID, I can see the name, the mobile number, email address, the name of the plan, and then you can see the construction of the SMS as well, where it says, hi, input customer name, thanks for subscribing to, and then you input the plan name all the way through the SMS message. So that is a webhooks integration pushing out to Zoho Creator. When I wrap up this discussion and talk about APIs, I'll talk about a more robust integration that the team is about to come out with. Actually, it's just been completed, which is a bidirectional integration with Zoho Subscriptions that leverages Zoho Subscriptions' full-blown REST API, but it's also built in to Zoho Creator. So it's actually much easier than what Tejas took you through in terms of integrating with say, Google Maps. This is already built in as a task within Zoho Creator. And by the way, we've done the same integration with some of the other finance apps, namely with Zoho Invoice and Zoho Books. Okay, so, sorry, that was a long pause there, but to bring you back up to speed, there was multiple ways to integrate Zoho Subscriptions with Zoho Creator and other applications. I'm going to give you an example of another one, which this is our actual customer. The customer is called Transform Agents, and basically what they do is marketing services for real estate agents, okay? And you can sign up for various plans. As you can see here, $700, $1,400, $3,360, pretty steep plan there, and you get various marketing activities associated with those. Now, the point that I wanted to show you here is the hosted page, which essentially is Zoho Creator, or sorry, Zoho Subscriptions. These are the hosted pages that I talked about when I talked about the various options for integration. This was all created automatically within Zoho Subscriptions, and it gives us a link that we embed into, in this case, Transform Agents. And I'll go back and show you that, where that is exactly in the Zoho Subscriptions application. I'll give you another example here. I actually just was told about this website. This is a website that, again, a customer of ours that does answering services for businesses. So we've all seen this. You're not able to answer your call. You go to an operator. They have a script, know about your business, and essentially you can sign up for various packages with them as well. So here's one package. If I sign up, you can see a very familiar Zoho Subscriptions hosted page. So the benefit of this is multifold here. One, it collects all the information related to the customer, billing information, credit card information, but more importantly, Zoho Subscriptions can act as your gateway going out to process that transaction, because we have all the relationships with, obviously, like PayPal, but Authorize.net, all the merchant accounts that most businesses are interacting with. But we take on that transaction in terms of processing. So that's kind of the function that you would get from the hosted page. And what I wanted to show you is how easy it is within Zoho Subscriptions. I've already created a number of plans, as you can see here, and we have the Essential plan, we have Premium, Enterprise, Single. Let's just take a look at the Essential here, and it does the same thing. This is, again, a tech company that does multiple services for you, as you can see, host your wiki pages, offer chat services. But once I create that plan, it creates this URL or hosted page related to the plan. And what's real slick here is I could just click on that and get an instant view of what that hosted page is going to look like. And the URL that I just clicked on is what you would embed in your application or into your website. Okay? So with that, the last thing that I wanted to kind of take you through is this idea of a REST API. And Tejas talked a lot about APIs. The idea behind Zoho Subscriptions is the fact that subscriptions are typically driven from third-party applications that are transacting business or websites. We had to open up the entire application. So each one of these areas, whether it be product or plans, can easily be integrated into your applications. And as I mentioned, just 2 days ago, guys, we finished up the integration between that takes this API and makes it a task or a library within Zoho Creator, so it's much, much easier. It's not the process that we saw with the Google Maps example. It's much more well-defined within Creator as a task. Thank you.